All right, I hope everything's working. Yeah, so a face cam video today. I'm gonna be tier listing every single level of the hardcore silent assassin suit only that I did not too long ago. It's a difficulty tier list, not necessarily a how good are the levels, because I feel like that wouldn't differ very much from a normal how are the levels tier list. So instead, we're just going to be doing the difficulty, and we're going to make our way from the bottom all the way to the top. The levels will be sorted per row, so anything that's on the right will be more easy than anything on the left. So bottom right is the easiest, top left is the hardest. So we're going to start with the very first, the easiest level, and it's Illusions of Grandeur. This level is a joke. I don't know if I remember this correctly, but it came out in Hitman 2. And I believe when it was just like, there was just a complete lack of content. And then Illusions of Grandeur came out, and it's just volunteer to be the, volunteer to be the volunteer for Basil Carnaby. Then just walk with him, and you can just toss him off the balcony after you silently take out the guard. It's really, you really don't have to even think for this mission. If you want to, you can even like poison the guard on the way up, like a medic poison syringe. If you're not comfortable with taking the guard out right in front of Basil Carnaby. But it's really, even in normal play, it's not a it's not a hard mission. It's really dumb. Then for the second to easiest mission, it's the Hokkaido Snow Festival. The Hokkaido Snow Festival is also, it's kind of similar to Illusions of Grandeur, except there is actually a way you can mess up now. Because the way you do it is you start in the restaurant, which is the default starting location, you move out to where Dmitry Fedorov is standing, and you wait for a gardener to move past. As soon as that gardener's moved past, grab his guard, Dmitry will spot you, you punch him, and toss him off the roof. That's it. And then if you just extract the guard's body, won't get found in time. There's really not much to do in this mission. Yeah, you in normal play you have the challenges, but this is not about normal play. This is about the hardcore silent assassin suit only. I probably should have said that. It's really difficult tier list for how it was in the silent assassin suit only itemless master mode. Yeah, it's just that. In Hokkaido Snow Festival, it's just a joke. And instantly after Hokkaido Snow Festival, we have Holiday Hoarders. The second Christmas mission. Actually, the oldest Christmas mission. Holiday Hoarders, if you start in the attic, you can just run to both your targets. The only thing you need to be careful of are 2 patrolling guards and 1 patrolling, or not even patrolling, but 1 technician. He faces your way at some point. But it's just not difficult. You can just grab Harry the instant you spawn in. You climb down the ladder, run to him, you grab him, that's it. And the only thing you need to be careful of is not to actually snap Marv's neck when he's standing next to the break room, because at that point, the stylist and the guard will hear it. So if you just grab him, drag him away, and then break his neck, it's not really anything you need to do. Then the last mission in the effortless tier is Night Call. The problem I had at first when figuring out this route is getting into the house, because you need to grab the key out of the pot, but I can't destroy the pot. But then I realized it's just suit only, so you can just start in the office and you don't even need to try to enter the house anymore. So as soon as you spawn in, turn the painting, get rid of the cameras, open the computer, and then you go to the closet and then just wait there until Alma goes to sleep. Then it is you do need to pay attention on the extraction, but it's not, you just need to pay attention. It's not even difficult. There's foliage everywhere. You don't need to worry about anything. Then at the boat, you do need to peekaboo the people, but it's still just, it's very difficult to get spotted. If you just do it right, there's really no risk. I debated putting Night Call in easy instead of effortless, but in the end, I really feel like it's just the very top of effortless. And then we're moving on to easy, which is a bit more. It's still very easy missions, but instead you do have to put a bit of thought into your actions. And this will also be the largest tier, luckily. Also, note that every single mission that is not the main story missions of Hitman 1, 2, and 3, so that includes everything up until Shadows in the Water right here, and everything ahead, so these 2 rows and then these 5 missions. 4, excuse me. Only those can be done on Master Mode. Everything else is on Professional, which also explains why a lot of these missions are still on Easy. But the first mission in the Easy tier will be, if I can find it, Landslide. There it is. Landslide is... you don't need to do much. You can, when you spawn in, you can just sabotage Marco Abbiati's camera, and then you just wait. You wait for the assistant to come by. You don't even need to intercept him there. Then you do need to make sure you delay the guard enough so that you need to delay the guard enough so that you can grab him in the apartment without the assistant noticing. And then in the graveyard, you need to make sure you're not actually within the graveyard when it turns into a trespassing area, because then, in my experience, the guards instantly spot you. So, but apart from that, you still just do nothing. It's not much more to say. You do nothing. Then we have the first Patient Zero mission, and by that I don't mean the source. I mean the first mission that is featured within the Patient Zero campaign. It's the Vector. And the Vector is very simple, as you are on... It's a sniper assassin mission. You can't complete it normally, but it's still very easy. The only things you need to be careful of is, like, look around your targets a bit before you shoot them. Bradley Payne is very easy. You just shoot next to the 2 guards at the main house, and then you shoot them into a bush. It's a very easy kill. And then the other targets, I mean, if you've played this mission like 3 or 4 times, you know, okay, with the hacker that I got specifically, you need to distract this guy, otherwise he gets seen. And even when you need to improvise, which I had to do in my playthrough when the demolitionist started running away, I just shot him into a bush and he didn't get found. So it's a really easy mission. It's a fun mission. It's a bit of a guess who mission, but it's still very easy. Keeping on track with the Patient Zero, we now do have the source. I said we do have the source. The source is really not that difficult. You can grab the vodka bottle really, really easily. There's no one watching it. And then you can just run up the stairs. You do need to be a bit careful, because there is a chance, if you're not careful with the waiter, that you get spotted by the waiter. And the guards, there are still just a few patrolling guards. And because Sister Yildiz isn't terribly far away, there is a chance you can get spotted, but it's not. It's very easy. You just go up the stairs, wait for them to start the ritual, and then you can just extract before Nabazov is even dead, because he'll die in the process of you extracting. Stay hydrated, everyone. Okay, then after the source, we have the final test. I had a lot of debating how I should put the tutorial missions, because both the final test and freeform training, well, they're tutorial missions. They're not supposed to be difficult. And I had them switched around constantly when deciding the order for this tier list. The biggest thing that makes this mission a bit more difficult than, say, the source and landslide is the fact that when you're knocking out 2 militia soldiers, there's a guy up top the hangar who can sometimes spot you if you're not careful of him. So you need to wait for him, and it's just not very easy, but it's possible that you get spotted at some points along the way. Then Jasper Knight himself, after climbing off the pipe, peekabooing him, just need to make sure you don't peekaboo the guard over, and then you just toss him out the window. It's an accident kill. His body will get found, but Doesn't matter. You toss him out the window. It's an accident kill. Making the final test a very easy mission. Then we have our first actual Hitman story mission, and it's Apex Predator. Berlin Apex Predator is possibly the easiest mission to complete fast, to complete consistently, but it's also really fun. It's one of the most fun missions. You have 10 targets, you have to eliminate 5, and you just... It's the targets aren't necessarily difficult, even to complete suit only, but it's a really fun mission. So the route that I have is I move upstairs, then toss Agent Green off the roof, then I kick 2 bags of bricks, which eliminates 2 more agents. Then I get rid of the snipe. I clear the sniper's nest, which is just 1 biker and Agent Tremaine off the top of my head. And then you just, well, then you move to the wheat plant, and it's just a simple peekaboo. It's not that difficult. You do need to be careful of a few cameras around the wheat plant, but that's it. It's not a difficult mission by any means. But it's still a really fun mission. There's endless ways you can do it, but I did like this because it's a very easy one. Now we're going back to the side missions, and we're going to start with a bitter pill. A bitter pill is a weird one, because your target is supposed to be very secure, very protected. There's police in front of his house. He has an advanced security system, so you can't really break into the house, except he leaves his basement door unlocked, which means you can just open that, grab the security key card, disable this. You can disable the security system, and then you can just peekaboo him over while he's talking to the police. His bodyguard will go to investigate the security system, and then you peekaboo him, hide him in the closet, and then extract, now with the security system activated again. So it'll go off, and they're like, okay, we need to secure this guy. Where is the guy we need to secure? It's just... I find it very funny, but it's not a difficult mission. It's really, really easy. Starting us off with the Sarajevo 6, we have the director. The director is by far the easiest target of the Sarajevo 6, and it's the first one, so it kind of makes sense. He is in the attic of the Paris, of the Palais de Waleska in Paris, and he has a big security team around him. The only problem is that when he goes to smoke, I believe he smokes there. Could very well be that he doesn't, but I believe he smokes there. When he goes to smoke next to one of the windows, you can just climb in, grab 1 bodyguard, and toss him out the window he's smoking. And it's just, that's it. You need to subdue 1 more guard who has the ability to get spotted by another one. But that's really it. You just need to be mindful of when you're grabbing the second guard, otherwise a body will be found. But then you just drag both the bodies behind something. You extract out the other side of the attic, which means you're at the Iago auction, but you're not trespassing there. So then you can just move out. And because it's not expert mode, you don't even need to worry about a camera. The only guy you need to worry about is an enforcer on the balcony, but I don't think any experienced player gets spotted by him anymore. So there's no reason to worry about him. Following up with the theme of the Sarajevo 6, we have the Enforcer. I said we have the Enforcer. The Enforcer is also very easy, but it's made a bit more difficult by the fact that you need to get into the biolab. But when you start in the ICA safe house and then you make your way into the mansion area, being mindful of the cameras, you can just subdue a scientist in the garage. When you climb through the fountain, go into the garage, subdue a scientist, grab a key card. That's it. You don't need to do any more. That's really all you need to do. Then you go downstairs. You do need to be mindful of the patrolling guard on top of the cliff and the cameras. There are a lot of cameras in the biolab, but it's really not anything difficult. You peekaboo Gary over. For style points, dumped him in the vat of acid, so his body won't even get found. I believe at that location he won't get found either way. And that's it. There's really nothing else you need to do. The Enforcer is a close second place to the Director. Now we have the other tutorial mission, Freeform Training. The only reason why this is quite a few places higher than the final test is because you need to peekaboo a lot, and there's a few things that can go wrong. And there is a hint of RNG in it, because you need to peekaboo, I believe, 3 mechanics? You need to peekaboo 2 of them, and then just make sure. Yeah, you need to peekaboo 2 of them. But the maneuver is a bit sketchy. Also, there is a guard who looks into the area where you're trying to peekaboo someone. So there is a possibility that he gets peekabooed instead, and then he has to take a long way around to come to investigate. It can be a bit of a pain at times if that happens, but it happens rarely. And besides that, after you get rid of the mechanics, hide their bodies, it's really not that much of a challenge anymore. Going up the stairs, if you just know where the guards are, knowing where the guards are, you just won't get spotted. And then you trigger the fire alarm. The only thing with the fire alarm is that there is a bit of an RNG element to it, because, well, the movement patterns of the guards are random. But if you just pay attention a bit, you can just grab him. It's definitely on the higher end of easy. I debated putting these last few levels into doable, but I just ended up going with easy. Now we have another Hitman story mission, and it's on top of the world in Dubai. Dubai is one of the easiest missions because any player who plays Dubai, they get talked through the entire mission by Lucas Gray. That's exactly how I did this mission. You go into the back, subdue a few people, make your way up, rearrange the meeting, go in, hide in the crate until Marcus Stuyvesant and Carl Ingram are both there, activate secure meeting, kill them both. It's really, really easy. You can even disable the camera, so it doesn't matter if you get spotted by a camera. And you can just grab both the server room keycard and the penthouse keycard from 2 janitors that you want to both get rid of, so they're on your way. It's a really easy mission. Then the next one is Shadows in the Water in Ambrose Island. Shadows in the Water is... Well, it's easy. Going to Akka, it's the only thing you really, really need to be careful of is the 2 engineers and the forger that are up at the outside of the pirate camp. That's about it. After that, it's really just a few simple peekaboos from people that are decently far away, so getting spotted is nearly impossible. And then if you activate the meeting light, Noel Crest will just be there. He won't give a damn. And then in the cave, that's a bit of a different story. It's a bit tougher, but it's not difficult by any means. Just grab the 2 guards that you encounter first, and then move to the control unit once the people face away. There's only like 2 or 3 guards that keep an eye on it at a certain time, and if you just turn the generator off, you can just disable safety, overload, and go away. That's really it. Rounding off the easy category, we have Patient Zero. If you remember, if you've seen the entire video, or made it that far into the 8.5 hour long video, which showcased every single level, Patient Zero was the last mission which I needed to find the route for. And that's because I went by it way, way more difficult than I needed to. So either way, I start by eliminating Owen Cage, giving me the virus. This just makes me responsible for the virus instead of Owen Cage, because if he gets a lot of people infected, it can get out of hand really, really quick. And because I didn't want him infecting the female surgeon, which is always the first other infected patient if you don't get rid of Owen Cage, I didn't want him infecting her. So I just give the virus to myself, and anyone who wears a biosuit doesn't get infected. So after getting rid of him, I basically just start clearing out everyone who's standing in my way between me and the morgue, because then I can just kill everyone on my way, dump their bodies in lakes. I dump a few bodies in lakes, I just snap a few necks, and then you just get the antidote, and that's the virus taken care of. Klaus Liebleed is a slightly bit different. There's a bit of an RNG element to it depending on how his routing goes, because he sometimes has the ability to spot you dragging the biosuit guy's body, because otherwise you can't unlock the door. But then it's just subdue the guy once he's standing next to the glass. He'll hear it, he'll come investigate, and you can kill him. It's not difficult, and because you get rid of the guards at the front door, you can just run out that front door. It's really not horrible in the slightest. Starting off doable is, if I can find it, the icon. The icon is... Oh my god, I've been doing this for 21 minutes already. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I got distracted. The icon, I did this mission completely wrong the first time. So, I didn't know you could unlock the shop and then just move over on that left side, the run I gave in the video. I did not know that was possible. I figured that out really, really late. In my first run, my first route, I would turn off a generator where Dino Bosco is supposed to give an interview, which would cause a lady within the cafe to investigate, and then I would slowly push her over to the door of the town hall, where I subdued a different guard earlier, so his pistol would be there, which I would then move past the guard in front of the weird bathroom area, so I could... or she would talk to that guard in the front of the bathroom area. He would pick up the gun, and then I could move past him. And then I'd clear out that entire floor of people, and then I'd peekaboo Dino Bosco in. That's really convoluted compared to what I have right now. So, instead, what I've done, I grab the shop key, and I basically peekaboo Dino Bosco in here. The reason why it's undoable is because there are still a few times where you can get spotted. The fact that the windows of the store aren't see-through, but the doors are, really messes me up sometimes. And from time to time, I do get spotted while grabbing the special effects guys, but that's mostly because of poor judgment. It's still not a difficult mission, but it's a bit more difficult. After the icon, we start with the second to last bonus mission, I believe, or is it a special assignment? I don't know. You start with a silver tongue. A silver tongue is a bit more iffy, but that's because it's very easy to get spotted if you're careless. You climb over the wall to get into the back parking lot, and then you just have to get rid of the guard, the salesman, and the saleswoman, and of AJ's personal bodyguard. But after that, it's really, really simple. The only thing is that the guards that stand at the other side of the parking lot, they can sometimes spot you if you're not careful. So that's also why in the video I saved when I triggered the forklift alarm, because I wasn't sure whether I'd get spotted. Turns out I didn't. But it was a bit more convoluted to figure it out, but it's still very, very doable. Just need to be a bit more careful from time to time. Then we have our first main story mission in doable, and it's... where is it? Ah, there it is. Golden Handshake. New York. New York is a very fun level, in my opinion. I just don't have mastery. And the only reason why I don't really play the level a lot is because of the bank data. I don't feel like getting the bank data every single time. I feel like it should be optional in other playthroughs, kind of like the tornado shelter in Colorado and the data core in Chongqing. Chongqing? Yeah, forgive me, I'm probably butchering that name. But New York, just grabbing the bank data is... That's the biggest issue. Athena Savalas, she's just in her office. You peekaboo her over and grab her data disk. And I was afraid I'd have to get the normal data drive, the big rack. But then I realized that's not an item. Or that's an item, so I'm not allowed to grab it. So I had to go for the backup data disks. And while pathing to find out how I'd get to Athena Savalis, I crossed paths with Mateo Perez, which is the only one I, at the time, didn't know the location for in the bank. So when I was routing him and I found that he was there, I was like, oh, because I know where Fabian Mann is and Athena Savalas carries the last one, that just makes it way easier to plan the rest of this mission out. But it's still, there are a few things where you can get spotted. I'm getting sidetracked a bit. I beg for forgiveness. That's what I do. Get distracted when talking about things. But there's a few parts where you can get spotted, including Athena's office herself, going up to Athena's office. I nearly got spotted while peekabooing the guy who got fired in my final run. So there, you just need to be a bit careful, which I'm definitely not enough in some of these missions. But it's fine. We eventually did it. It's alright. It's not a horrible mission by any means. Speaking of butchering names, we have Chongqing. End of an era. End of an era is... It's... The way you get rid of your targets is decently convoluted, but it's not difficult to do. So, Imogen Royce, I start with Imogen Royce. Getting into the eye facility is a joke. You just climb in from the... Is it the default start? I don't know whether it's... I believe it's the default start. You just climb in. You do nearly get spotted, but I have never been spotted in the entire time that I've done this route. Then you enter code 0118, make your way into the ICA facility, go all the way down. Not all the way down. You just go down into the statistician's office. The only thing that was a bit of troubling at first for me to figure out the route is the fact that everyone would hear me punching Royce. But after I found out that you can move through the vents, it was really nothing. It really, really was nothing anymore. And then Hush is a bit of a different thing because the guard in the break room can sometimes hear the other scientist if you grab him if he's standing too close. But if you're just careful, you keep looking, it's very doable. There are a few people who can spot you, a bit of random head turning from, say, the guards in the ICA facility. If you don't hack one of the windows, it's very possible that you get spotted. But it's still very, very doable, hence why it's in this tier. That felt fancy. Hence, whoa. We're going to keep on track with the story missions for now, because we're going to be talking about Another Life. The biggest thing I had with Another Life was figuring out how to get to Cassidy and the clues. Because sometimes, or in most mainstream runs, for most players, you grab the lawsuit files, the cigar box, and the photo of the Ark Society. That's the casual, like, the one that most people find. So the lawsuit files and the Ark Society photo are no problem, but I'm not allowed to grab a shovel for the cigar box. So instead, I grab the letter from the bodyguard in Cassidy's house, and what else do I grab? And the microfilm in Cassidy's house, and then you just do both of them. You grab the lawsuit files, play the microfilm, and that's that done. Cassidy, even though you have to knock out a lot of people, it's no risk really. The only thing you need to be careful of is that you drag the bodies into the bathroom, because at first I dragged them into the garage. But there's a guy standing outside next to the fumigation unit, and that guy really, really barely spots you sometimes. Normally it's not enough to get spotted or anything, because it's just a very tiny glimpse. But a very tiny glimpse is all an NPC needs to compromise you dragging a body. And even though he can just barely see the top of your head and probably wouldn't even be able to see that you're carrying a body, he still spots you sometimes. That's why you have to hide them in the bathroom. Then, apart from that, after you clear the bottom floor, which really isn't difficult to do because the guards are so spread out, then you just go to gunroom, trigger the alarm. Cassidy is way ahead of his guard at that point. Then you just... I'm lost for words for a sec. I'm so sorry. But you just break Cassidy's neck, wait for his guard, grab him, and that's it. Then after the... After Cassidy, you go to Janus's house, which is really simple. Climb up the pipe, make your way into the bedroom, hide in the closet, and then there's just Janus and a guard, and we all know if you're just with one guard, you're not safe in Hitman for Silent Assassin requirements. So you just grab both of them, and yeah, that's an easy kill. Then another story mission, the finish line. This one could definitely go in easy if I changed my route. But because I desperately wanted to kill both Sierra and Robert Knox the same way, I did it like this. I don't know Sierra's route that well, so I didn't really want her getting out of the car, and I was really, really afraid that the race would end before I could push Robert off the roof. But luckily, in my testing, I found that, well, if you start doing interactions with the race, such as grabbing the dongle, it just extends the race for you, so that you definitely will have time to do that. But yeah, the only reason why this isn't doable and not an easy is because I really wanted to do it this way. It could probably go in easy, like somewhere over here probably, but this is the final routes, the tier list for the final routes. Another story mission, we have Death in the Family. The only reason why this is undoable, because I found it a very easy mission to do. Extracting is a bit more difficult because the only real exit I could find... The only real exit I could find is the front door, and one of the guards is an enforcer in any disguise, I believe. So even if you're in your suit, he's an enforcer. So that's a bit of a thing. And then every other exit is guarded, so extracting was a bit of an issue. And then in my run, Alexa just turned around at some point, and then I had to clear out more people. Eventually she did come back, and it really wasn't an issue. The case file is easy as soon as you get rid of the guards. You need to do a decent amount of knockouts, but it's not difficult. Yeah. Then still undoable, which I expected this one to be higher, but honestly, the two targets really balance each other out. It's a house built on sand. You may remember in the video, if you've seen it, that I absolutely hated figuring out this level because Matthew Mandola really isn't ever out of the public eye. However, you can do a suspicious action when you turn on a high voltage power outlet if everyone else is looking away. And timing it really isn't difficult. Just figuring out where you needed to be for him to spot you with no one else, that was difficult, but doing it, like replicating it, wasn't difficult at all. And Kong Tao Kwang, the only thing that can really happen is you can get spotted by his personal bodyguard when you're peekabooing him into the back of the cafe. That's it. That's really it. Not much more to say about this mission. Because Matthew Mandola carries the documents on him, you don't even need to worry about them. That's it. That's really about it. Then, rounding off doable with the author. The author I found very stressful, but not necessarily difficult. And the reason why I found it stressful is because there's a time limit before your targets go to the meeting. You have about 10 minutes, and if you don't have your preparations done at that point, you may as well restart. Because you need to have that done by 10 minutes, because then the meeting will start and Craig Black will leave. You have more than enough time, but at some points, if cycles go wrong, if you forget that you need to take care of someone, it could just really, really break apart very, very quick. But then the targets themselves really are a joke. At first I wanted to get Brother Akram in his apartment, but then I realized I couldn't really get in there, so I just didn't. I just made them go to the meeting. That's it. Starting off our hard tier is the extractor for the Sarajevo 6. Excuse me. I'm also speaking a bit nasally. Just a cold. It's annoying. You know, winter. It's cold everywhere, including me. Anyway, the extractor. The extractor is the first hard mission, and it's decently hard, obviously. The reason why it's decently hard is because you need to knock out quite a few people, and you need to place them in a specific spot so they won't get found. You also need to subdue them so that you won't get spotted, but also so the bodies won't get found. It's just a bit difficult with how many people there are. Sometimes you can peekaboo the wrong guy, then a cycle misaligns. And the extraction also isn't free because you need to either grab the key, which I completely forgot in which room it was when I was doing my final run. It's either in the upstairs or downstairs room, but I decided not to investigate. And then just get into the army vehicle. But if you don't want to grab the key, you need to go out next to the army vehicle, then over and up into the headmaster's office, and then peekaboo the headmaster very briefly because he's very close to you. So unless you get the army key, which I didn't do, it's a bit more difficult. After the extractor, going back to Sapienza for World of Tomorrow. World of Tomorrow is a really, really fun mission. I really, really like it. But it's a bit difficult in this specific challenge. There are spots where you get spotted very, very, very nearly. So you definitely don't want that. There is a possibility of getting spotted. It just happens rarely. And then when you get the... Let's see. Francesca is a bit specific with how her guards are, and it's definitely possible to get spotted. Silvio is a bit easier, but you just need to wait for his guards. Then Francesca is a bit iffy. Sometimes you can get spotted doing stuff, and it's just very easy to misjudge how the two guards on the cliff are walking in the biolab. There's going to be church bells in the background. I believe you can hear them. I've had that happen in the past. I'm so sorry if you hear church bells right now. But, okay. After World of Tomorrow, we have Chasing a Ghost. Chasing a Ghost is... I don't like it that much because the Maelstrom is always a pain. If you want to go for mastery, if you want to go for challenges, the Maelstrom is just a pain unless you know his entire path, which I know he comes next to a water puddle and you can electrocute him there. But just in normal play, he's already a pain. It's no different really in this. It's really no different in this challenge. So Dawood Rangan, very easy. Adjust the Kashmir and sniper scope, and then place the tube of paint. You do need to be careful a bit because if you place the tube of paint at the wrong time, either the painter or the bodyguard will spot you. Then you just need to get out and go to Vanya Shah's train yard. I am so sorry. With Vanya Shah, it's very easy to get spotted while climbing over the banisters, drowning in the drowning pool. Nothing can go wrong once you're there. Then the Maelstrom, getting rid of the two guards on top of the apartment where the flag is, it's just bad. It's bad. And yeah, we just when you finally find out how you do it, you can do it consistently, but you still need to do a footstep lure where you make him hear a footstep. And because the guy is just standing, he's not sitting, he turns around instantly. It's very easy to get spotted, and it's hostile, so they start shooting you. I mean, it doesn't make a challenge. Spotted is spotted. It just means Silent Assassin is gone. But it's just very easy to get spotted up there. Then the kill on the Maelstrom himself is very, very easy because no one else is watching your way. Then after this, we have the Showstopper. Finally. Go. Thank you. The Showstopper. It's not a horribly difficult mission. It's definitely not a horribly difficult mission. It's just convoluted because Victor, as the guy who runs the fashion show, he is in the public eye constantly. The only way I've been able to single him out this way is the way I did in the challenge, by knocking him or making him talk to Valerie St. Clair and then walking out into the Palace Gardens, which you have cleared out. But the Palace Gardens, it's decently easy to overlook someone. There's a guy smoking. There is a enforcer, which can still spot you if you're waiting, if you're not careful. Then Dahlia is no easier. She's not necessarily in the public eye, but she's more secure. And that's the thing that she has a bit more, where you need to actually peekaboo a few guards, and sometimes you can just get spotted if you're not careful enough. That's why it's in hard. It was my comfort mission because I had practiced it so much. It's my comfort mission to do. If I at any point wanted to train for this challenge, I would do it in Paris. But it doesn't mean it's an easy mission. So after the showstopper, we get Freedom Fighters, which might shock some of you. Freedom Fighters is an infamously difficult mission in the first Hitman game. But because it's already so difficult, this challenge doesn't make it that much more difficult. Getting Silent Assassin Suit only on this map is already horrible. If you want to kill Ezra Berg, you kill him in his shack. If you want to kill Maya, you peekaboo her. If you want to kill Sean Rose, you peekaboo him. And then Penelope Graves is a bit more difficult because she's wandering around the compound a lot. I mean, all four of them are wandering around the compound a lot. But this challenge doesn't make it that much harder because especially Sean Rose and Maya Parvati, they're just there. You can just peekaboo them, grab them, kill them. That's it. So after that, you're done. You can just move on to Ezra, who's also basically free. And then Penelope is a bit harder because you really need to be careful with how you need to move an entire circle around or half a circle around the compound, move back into the compound, sneak into the main house when no one's looking, which has like 4 people's cycles aligning, which means if you disturb one of their cycles by nearly getting spotted, doesn't even matter if they need to investigate. If the question mark pops up above their head, you're screwed. You can just reload your save or restart if you haven't made your save. Anyway, you climb into the main house, get rid of a hacker, hide the body, and then Penelope shows up. That's the only way I've been able to get Penelope this way, because I can't like shoot the chandelier or anything. So getting Silent Assassin Suit only is already decently difficult for non-speedrunners. I know speedrunners have like insane things where you do muffin boosts to barely shoot the lawnmower where Ezra Berg is at. Doesn't matter. The way I did it, it's not terribly difficult for a mission that is infamously difficult. After Freedom Fighters, we have the last side mission. Actually, as a matter of fact, the last side mission / bonus assignment, because these are story missions. That's the Sarajevo 6, the Sarajevo 3 at this point. But we have Embrace of the Serpent. The reason why Embrace of the Serpent is so high is because there's a lot of AI trickery that you need to do. The Blair Reddington's guards don't hear anything. When you grab something, if you peekaboo or try to peekaboo them, they won't react. If you toss a coin, won't react. If you grab the other guard while the other guard is... If you grab guard 1 while guard 2 is standing next to him, won't notice. Unless he sees you. But if he hears you, no reaction whatsoever. So that was a bit of AI trickery. Then you also need to be careful with clearing the part of the jungle where you want to single out Blair Reddington. That part of the jungle, you need to be careful because Blair does walk through it and he can spot a body. His guards can also spot a body. And that just makes it decently difficult. Then even when you get rid of Blair, you still need to get the book. And you can only really do that by really clearing out that entire clearing at the shaman's hut. And then even it's nice to clear out the guy patrolling within the shaman's hut, which can definitely get you spotted on multiple occasions. I didn't find this super, super hard, but it was definitely a hard mission. And ending off the hard tier, it's The Last Resort. The Last Resort is... It's not nice purely because of Tyson Williams. peekabooing Jason Portman to get Lamilla Vetrova standing on a latch, no problem whatsoever. It's just a bit inconsistent, but because it's at the start of the mission, you can just reset. There's really nothing happened. There's like 30 seconds time loss, and it's not even a speed run, so you're just resetting for 30 seconds. Boo. Wow. But then Stephen Bradley is a bit more risky because you need to get onto his island while no one's watching. That's fine. It's doable. Then getting rid of the people, sometimes you can get a punch glitch, which causes you to punch someone even though you were behind him. That's a bit annoying. But then the actual kill on Stephen Bradley was fine. And Tyson Williams is horrible because the walls are very poorly coded, which means that the walls can sometimes just be see-through. An NPC will just spot you through a solid wall. And it's just horrible. As a matter of fact, I had to reroute during my recording session because my route was too slow and too inconsistent because I got spotted over and over again. But then I found the other route by going in a different door, and then I realized, okay, it's not terribly hard, but it's still very annoying to have to do. That's our last hard mission. Our first very hard mission is Untouchable. Untouchable took me a long time to figure out, and I didn't want to do anything because, or I really, really procrastinated on making this, or making the route for the level because I was just like, I can't do it. So at first I saw Jota's video where he launches himself up into the air using the subdue glitch, but the subdue glitch no longer works. So I decided, okay, maybe this one is impossible. But then, after completing all the main story missions for Hitman 1, 2, and 3, including Ambrose Island, I thought, you know what, I'm experienced enough. I did, I believe, 20 missions. I believe there's 21 missions, including Shadows in the Water. Wherever it is, there it is. So I was like, I already did 20 missions like this. I have routes for basically every single other level. I can do this. And then I just improvised a route, and then I was like, oh, that works. And then I just recorded it instantly after. It's still very hard. It's very easy to get spotted. Because on one train carriage, you don't want to get rid of every single guard, because it's just way too risky to do so. But that means on the end of that same train carriage, you don't want to get rid of you don't want to get rid of those people, but then at the end you do have to store a few bodies, which means it's very easy to get seen. And also when peekabooing them, some guards have very limited cones of view, others have just normal cones of view, and it just makes it very, very inconsistent and very easy to get seen while getting rid of people. Then the end is no better, because at the end, specifically the last carriage before you pull the handle to separate the trains, where the 3 people are sitting on office chairs, you just need to hope to God that they don't turn around instantly, because otherwise you're going to get spotted because they're so nearby. Luckily, it's possible, but it's still very hard. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and I'm glad that I found it out, because if this mission would stop me from completing that challenge, I would be pissed, because I was kind of pissed that this was the last level of Hitman. I understand why, but it's just a horrible level to end the Hitman World of Assassination trilogy with, in my opinion. After Untouchable, we get a Gilded Cage. To me, it's very surprising that some of the Hitman 1 levels are this high up. But yeah. A Gilded Cage, what can go wrong? Well, you need to get rid of 2 mercenary or malicious soldiers who are guarding the school entrance, which can get you spotted if you're not careful. You can get spotted in the garage of the consulate. You can get spotted while grabbing the keycard for the consulate. You need to be careful within the consulate that you don't get spotted because of random head turning. You don't get seen while opening the door. And that's the consulate alone, which I feel like is the easier of the 2. So yeah, that's a lot of things that can go wrong. Then you go into the school where there's just soldiers everywhere. Soldiers can spot you through window, this time through windows, not through solid walls. But yeah, there are windows that if you're not careful, you'll just get seen through, and it's not nice. And if you're not careful, you will get spotted turning on the intercom. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong. Meaning which gives it the place over here. I don't know how high it is, but these levels are still above it. After a kill with Cage, we have the farewell. The farewell is up here purely because of Tamara Vidal. I really wanted to get Tamara Vidal killed with the sniper team, but you need to wear one of the outfits that the security wears. The security down at the whatever it's called in the vineyard wears. The gauchos. I'm probably butchering that name again. You need to wear that outfit, or probably you can also be a mercenary, but you're not allowed to be in your suit. Which is a bit of a shame, because that means that one easy way to get rid of Tamara Vidal is no longer possible. I can't make them go on the tour, because I would get spotted. There's just a lot of things that go wrong. So Don Yates is very, very easy. Sneak up to the mansion, subdue the wife, then subdue Don. It's really not that difficult. But Tamara Vidal is horrible because there's a very, very small window where both her and Diana are singled out behind the scenes. But then still, she's with 2 guards the first cycle. So getting just one guard to come over to investigate is difficult. Making sure one of the bodies doesn't get found is difficult. And then you just need to hope that the next cycle you first distract the guard, then Tamara Vidal comes along. Because otherwise, that's just going to mess everything up. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. After the farewell, we have Three-Headed Serpent. Three-Headed Serpent, Santa Fortuna, is horrible mostly because of Rico Delgado. Andrea Martinez is very easy. Climb over the wall, climb up, peekaboo, toss her into the river. That's it. Then you have the whatever it's called. Then afterwards you get Rico Delgado. The Delgado mansion is crawling with security. At some point, 3 pairs of guards as cycles need to line up so you can sneak into Hector's bathroom. Then you need to hope that or Hector's bedroom, not bathroom. Then you need to hope that Hector actually moves into his bathroom, because then if he doesn't, you can't get rid of him. The guard will spot you. Or they'll spot you dragging the body. So, what you want to do, when he goes into the bathroom, grab him. Then when Rico comes along, peekaboo him, hide his body, and hope to God that the mate that comes to investigate doesn't turn the corner. That happens from time to time. Most of the time it doesn't, but from time to time it can happen. If she does, body found, reload your save. And at this point, I wouldn't have made a save yet, because Jorge Franco is also very inconsistent, because there is a cargo loading lady who can also spot you in the hut, which is just very, very annoying, because it's right at the end of the level. So I didn't want to make a save right there. And it's horrible. It's just horrible. I really, really hated this level. But we got through it. Immediately after, we have the Ark Society. I said the Ark Society. The Ark Society is I really don't know what to feel about it. Sophia Washington is relatively easy because you can just grab her in the side room after peekabooing her. But then Zoe Washington is horrible because you need to clear the entire wake area. Although there's a guard up top who can spot you, there are people downstairs who can spot you. There are weird glitches that happen causing you to punch people. It's just horrible. There's a lot of people that can spot you from time to time because there are a lot of people patrolling and waiting. It's just bad. And the Ark Society is already one of my most hated missions, which probably makes it a bit more biased. It's probably would go somewhere between these missions. But for now, I'm just gonna put it here. I really, really hate the Ark Society in every single way. Then, for the last mission in Very Hard, we have the Controller. But this mission is so much fun in the challenge. Because Silent Assassin suit only, normally you would need to get a keycard hacker if you don't already own one. However, if you don't have a keycard hacker, knocking out so many people and basically leaving just a trail of bodies, I was really enjoying it. It has the most knockouts with 16, which is one more than a few other missions. But it's just so much fun. The only one thing, it is very difficult. That's not the point. It's just very fun difficult as opposed to the Arc Society that's just difficult. Because it's something different. Just dragging a hospital director from one end of the hospital all the way to the other without getting seen, that's just something different. Something you really don't experience in Hitman at all. And this is, if you want to try this challenge for some reason, this is the level I recommend. Trying to drag the director all the way across, it's professional so you can save as many times as you want. It's so much fun. I really, really like this mission. This is the one mission that I might consider trying again in the same way because it's just a lot of fun. It's very long, but it's a lot of fun. Then, in this category, RNG dependent / inconsistent. These are not necessarily levels that are hard, but they're just hard to get consistently. Starting all this off is the Mercenary. The Mercenary is inconsistent. It's not RNG dependent, it's inconsistent because Patrick Morgan has wall hacks on you. So does his militia. He has a small militia of 4 men that follow him around. And both Patrick and the militia, as soon as you get within a certain range, after a bit of waiting, they'll move to your location. And that's completely fine. The only thing is, it makes it very inconsistent. I had a route planned out, but it didn't work because Patrick reacted differently because I didn't do it perfectly in sync the way I did the first time. So that entire level is just improvisation and hoping that the body doesn't get found afterwards by someone. So it's inconsistent, and that gives it a place up here. After the Mercenary, we have Situs and Versus. And the reason why this is here is because you need to get rid of the donor heart for Soders. Most of the other things require items, which I can't do. Situs and Versus, you need to get rid of the 2 bodyguards next to the donor heart by triggering the fire alarm, which makes it very difficult because you can't get in yourself. I mean, you could probably subdue another bodyguard, but then leaving his body and peekabooing one will get the body found. So the really only consistent way to get in while moving the guards out without them seeing anything is by triggering the fire alarm. But that means that both those 2 guards and the 2 to 3 guards in the room with the camera recorder, they also have random paths. So not only do you need to hope that the 2 guards within the donor heart room move out swiftly so you can get in, destroy the donor heart, and then either hide behind the pillar and then move out, or just move out immediately. But you also need to hope that the 2 guards in the security room, that they don't they don't move towards you. They either have a chance to move up the stairs or towards the donor heart room. And if they do, they'll partially spot you. And if they partially spot you, they'll go to investigate, no matter how much they spotted you. So that makes it a inconsistent RNG dependent mission, earning its spot with the bronze medal for this challenge. It's funny how the last 2 missions are both in Bangkok. Which one of these 2 deserves Club 27 or the Veteran? Which one deserves RNG dependent inconsistent, and which one will I declare horrible? You probably know Club 27 isn't RNG dependent because of the camera guarding the letter tray. Jordan Cross, I mean, it's still very easy to get seen while getting the letter and getting all the way to the going to the birthday party, but the real reason why it's up here is because of Ken Morgan and the letter. I believe I reset it 36 times. In the actual video, I didn't name the total amount, but I did count. I reset 36 times on that. I reloaded save 36 times, of which only 2 resets were after the fact. So I placed the thing correctly, but then I had some complications down the line. So that makes 34 resets because of the camera. That's horrible. But not as horrible as the last mission, which is the veteran. The veteran is by far the most difficult target in this challenge because he's never out of the public eye. And I have found no way to make him out of the public eye apart from when he's walking up to the second bar after 20 minutes or so. I believe that's what happens when you take out his wife. Like, you can force him to go there earlier if you take out his wife. But that's the thing. You need to take out his wife. You can't just punch him or punch the wife and then punch him because that causes too much of a ruckus. So I clear out an entire terrace of people, very, very inconsistently getting one of the waitresses and one guard to come over to where they spotted me. And then you can get rid of the wife. You do so much effort, and then you get rid of the wife. And then he moves to a different spot, and there you can kill him. I hated this mission. So, with basically all the other missions, so when the Sarajevo 6 came out, I got the Director, the Enforcer, and the Extractor. I got their routes really, really easily. Then the Veteran came along, and I was like, I hate this. I really, really hated it. So I moved on to the Mercenary, which I also... So the other 3 I kind of procrastinated on. The Controller, I knew it would be possible. I just needed to be very patient. The Mercenary, I also assumed to be possible. I just didn't have a route. But the Veteran, I really, really wanted to declare it impossible. I was this close to quitting. And there's no real other mission where I was like, I really can't. The Farewell was kind of close, but not nearly as close as the Veteran. Because with the Farewell, I was like, I don't know where I should intercept Tamara Vidal. And the same with Untouchable. Didn't know what to do. However, the Veteran is the one mission that really, at some point, when I was figuring out the routes, I had like the Veteran and a few of the Patient Zero missions left. I was just like, I really thought quitting with this guy. I'm glad that I didn't, because that would mean I would have quit after like 7 hours of levels already. And I'm really glad that I didn't quit. I really, really am, because I eventually did get it. And oh my god, am I glad that I did. It's very possible that there is a way simpler route, but this is the only way I could find it. And that's it. That's the tier list. I made this tier list ahead of time. I have it on my second monitor if you didn't already get that. But I didn't have a script, so I hope I didn't stutter, stammer, however you want to call it, too much. I hope you kind of enjoyed it. This is, if you ever plan on doing this challenge, these ones are really, really easy. But if you want a really fun level, a real challenge that is real fun, the Controller, it's so much fun to try and drag the Director all the way across. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. I'm very glad that you stayed with me all this time. And if you want to see more videos with this cam, let me know. Because I thought it would be boring if we just had the tier list on. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.